Coming up on New England Hockey Journal, it's holiday tournament time, and in New England prep school hockey, there is none bigger than the Flood-Marr tournament.
All right, guys, listen up. I always sort of think about our season in thirds, right? From when we start through this Flood-Marr, then we get back through long winter weekend, and then that final close in February. This morning's a great opportunity to close out that first third of the season on a high note.
Like I said before we left, 45 minutes of hockey left in 2021. What happens in 2022, we have no idea. Do not take this 45 minutes for granted. Get after it immediately.
We're each doing extraordinary things. That doesn't have to mean we're doing it by ourselves, though, right? We're doing it together as a group, shift after shift.
You guys are all earning the trust of your teammates. When you jump over the boards, you know that everybody sitting on that bench, you're carrying them with you. And you've earned that trust, and it's an awesome trust to earn.
The hockey battles between Milton Academy and Noble and Greenough School date back to the early 1900s. It is that rivalry that led two old friends to start the Flood-Marr tournament.
Dick Marr and Dick Flood were classmates, teammates, and roommates at Williams College. Then they each came to be coaching, obviously one at Nobles and one at Milton, and decided to get a little tournament going around the holidays.
Started as 4 teams, it's now grown into 8, and the significance in hockey in New England has increased over the years. Some of the best teams in the region competing in December, kind of giving you a preview of what it might look like come February and March.
For the first 3 decades, several different schools participated in the tournament, along with Milton and Nobles, but since 1994, the Flood-Marr has consisted of the same 8 teams.
8 teams get together, and they're all good. It's a hard tournament. I think it's prep school hockey at its finest.
I used to scout it for years when I was at UMass Lowell and then at University of Maine, and it was always, we felt, the premier prep tournament of the holiday season. And now since I've been at KUA, obviously it's one of the highlights of the year. It's just such a great field, top to bottom.
It's our first time as a group to get on the road and stay in a hotel and be away from campus as a team. So it's always, I think, an important 2 or 3 days for team building.
A lot of great memories just watching the games when I was a kid. Now playing in it, it's awesome with the amount of people that come to watch, the amount of skill and competition is great.
I like the idea of this tournament because we get to play teams that we don't usually get to play. Obviously there's a lot of exposure for a lot of guys to get viewed that haven't been.
I've came and watched before I was at Nobles, and every year it's super competitive. It's great games every single game.
I think just the aura around it, there's a lot of energy around this tournament, circling on people's calendars, since the start of the season. So to be here for the first time is really special, and it really means a lot.
I think one of the greatest things, for us is that a lot of our alum come back. That to me is the great thing about the tournament, is seeing those guys come back and supporting the next generation of players.
Fantastic for the kids, also a great time for the families to come in, moms and dads who maybe haven't seen their kids for a while, and spend a day or 2 here and see some hockey and be around Boston. So again, with the Flood-Marr, to me, one of the beauties is it's an event that brings together all segments of hockey.
And that includes both college and NHL scouts.
Everybody standing in the rink and seeing, all the college guys and pro scouts in their jackets, it takes a little while. It usually takes 5 or 6 minutes for the guys to kind of settle down on the bench and stop gripping their sticks so tight and relax and play.
The rinks each and every day are filled with college coaches and pro scouts. I think for kids who aspire to go play in the NCAA, the boarding school experience on top of the level of hockey most closely mirrors what they can expect at the NCAA level.
We're always looking to move our kids to the next level without sacrificing the idea of team hockey. but we're grateful that these scouts are here. And as long as the kids focus on the right things, the sort of recruiting will take care of itself.
I think it's one of the real challenges for the kids, the excitement that they feel and the pressure that they tend to put on themselves, knowing that there are going to be a lot of people in the building that they want to impress. And so for us as a coaching staff, it's really important that we help our guys find that sweet spot where that enthusiasm and motivation is there, but they're really focusing on the process.
You know, we do understand that there's a lot at stake for some of these kids individually. But what we're trying to impart in these kids is that the individual success will come with the group success.
And obviously they're teenage boys, so they see the Jackets walking around and they certainly want to impress, but they know in order to do that, they need to play within our team structure and do the things that we need to do together as a team in order to find success.
All the games take place at either Milton or Nobles, and each team will play 4 games over a 3-day weekend.
I know the kids look forward to it. It's a lot of work for them. 4 games in 3 days is not something that you do a lot in prep school. You know, they're used to playing Wednesdays and Saturdays, so this weekend is really an opportunity for them to play a lot of hockey in a short amount of time.
It was just an incredible experience for me as a young athlete, and learned a lot about preparing for 4 games in a relatively short period of time, and you know what to expect once you go through it once.
Because the games are a little bit shorter, being 15-minute periods, that makes it a little bit more manageable, but it's one of the obstacles that teams have to overcome to be successful in this tournament. And as a staff, we were talking before coming out here that just how difficult a tournament it is to win.
I think it's a great spot for young hockey players to grow and be part of something very special and create relationships that will last them the rest of their lives.
This is different, you know, a tournament format with so many parents, kids, scouts. You know, we don't make a big deal out of it other than to say, let's play the game.
Coming up on New England Hockey Journal, we will take a look at some of the top prospects playing in this year's Flood-Marr tournament. New England Hockey Journal's Rinkwise, hosted by Kirk Luedecke, is the hockey podcast for serious hockey players and their supporters to help guide them throughout their hockey careers with interviews and insight from some of the biggest names in the game. Download Rinkwise today wherever you get your podcasts or listen at hockeyjournal.com/podcast. The annual Flood-Marr tournament features 8 of the best prep school hockey programs in the East. 2 of the teams were heavy favorites to reach the finals.
You look back, at least for the last 10 years here, Kimball Union and Salisbury have dominated the prep school landscape in New England, but it turns out that that's a consolation game this year. You know, the finals between the 2 host schools, Nobles and Milton, they're very good teams as well.
Every team here has players that will move on to the next level. We asked New England Hockey Journal's Jeff Cox to give us a couple prospects from each of the top 4 teams, starting with Salisbury and Kimball Union.
Dylan Ritzkowian is a player from Quebec who came down. His brother Justin Ritzkowian is at Northeastern now, but he also played at Salisbury a couple years ago. Dylan's just a really skilled forward that plays on their top line. Great hands, can finish, make plays, quick, just a really good offensive player.
Dylan is a high energy player, fantastic speed, can make plays at high speed as well. You know, a threat to score, but also someone who sees the ice tremendously well and really learning how to compete, not just with the puck on his stick, but when he doesn't have it.
I chose Northeastern. It's a great program. I feel like they fit my style of play. A lot of skill, fast-paced game they play, and also a huge aspect is my brother plays there, and it'd be awesome to play on the same team as my brother for sure.
Also committed to Northeastern is Dylan's line mate, Ben Poitras.
Poitras is another Northeastern commit. He's more of a smart, cerebral player, center, can play wing as well, but just a really poised, smart player. He kind of gets his work done by using his hockey sense.
a really up-and-coming young player who's had a big summer. I think getting some experience last year, even though it wasn't a traditional prep season, he got 15 games in with us. And he's a guy who can really play and make a difference at both ends of the rink. He's a high-skill player, but also has a little bit of grit and sandpaper to his game. So a really effective guy, all 200 feet on the ice.
Jaden Mariello is a local kid from Saugus, Mass. He's a senior at KUA. He's a winger, really good goal scorer. Skating is a little bit of a work in progress, but he's a big kid, drives the net, shoots it really hard. He's getting some Division I interest based on his goal scoring ability. One of the captains on Kimball Union, and just been a good solid player for Tim Whitehead for a couple years now.
Jaden's a great kid, comes from an awesome family in Saugus. So that's where it starts with him. He's really well respected among his teammates and coaches, and he's earned a lot of respect on campus. He's a proctor in the dorm, and he's been with us for 3 years. He's been through a lot. He broke his leg his sophomore year, and now he's a senior, and he's a guy, he just scores goals. He's kind of all arms and legs sometimes, so he doesn't necessarily the prettiest player out there, but man, he can score, and he scores big goals at key moments. And not just that, he competes, loves to play the game. He's got that nice matchup of determination but looseness.
I do not know what I'm doing next year. I'll play junior somewhere, but I'm just trying to focus on this year.
Duncan Ramsey is a kid from Nova Scotia that's committed to Vermont. He's getting a lot of buzz right now with the NHL scouts. He's 6'4", left shot defenseman, good skater for his size. He's one of those kids that probably projects better than what he is right now. He's not necessarily going to be maybe like the top defenseman in this tournament, but projecting out, there's probably not a better defenseman in this tournament than Duncan Ramsey.
He's a big, mobile, skilled defenseman. And the one thing I love about Duncan and that Vermont loves about him and NHL guys love about him, and the reason he's so good for us, is because he makes the right play at the right time. He chips the puck with purpose. He makes the 10-foot pass instead of forcing a stretch pass. He risks the puck to the net versus trying to find a seam pass that isn't there. And he's developing the skill to do even more. But he plays to his strength, and he's a big dude. He's tough. He doesn't take stupid penalties, but he is physical, and his best hockey is definitely ahead of him. He's just scratching the surface. He's an 04 senior. Yeah, Vermont's going to be very happy with him.
Vermont for me was just like such a great combo between like new coaching staff. Todd Woodcroft up there is doing an unbelievable job. Stephen Wheeler, Scott Mosher, like those guys are doing a great job up there. They're really trying to turn that program around, and then they're also getting their brand new facilities renovated, new rink, all that kind of stuff. And it meant something to me to be a part of like a rebuild of a program and start something new.
Stay with us. When we come back, we'll look at a few prospects from the two host schools and tournament finalists, Milton and Nobles. Welcome back as we continue our look at some of the prospects playing at this year's Flood-Marr tournament. For host team Milton Academy, we start with a recognizable name.
Will Canada's a local kid, obviously Paul Canada's son. He's a really good athlete. He's also a very good baseball player. What everyone will notice about Will Canada right away is his compete level. He's one of those kids that'll block shots, hunt pucks, do whatever it takes to get pucks back, and just great team player, compete level off the charts.
Coaching my son, I think it kind of feels normal to me. I've been around my son, with baseball, hockey, soccer, some version of a coach with a lot of his programs. So it's not anything new. It's, matter of fact, something that's been going on for a long time. And we try to treat him as fairly as we can, like any of the other kids, and enjoy our times together.
I love having him as my coach. He's a great coach, so look forward to playing for him the next few years. It's tough when he needs to be, He just wants all of us to be good people, good players, just be a good contributor to the team.
Chris Romaine's a local kid that came up through the South Shore Kings, played 1 year as an 8th grader at BC High before moving on to Milton. He's a Providence commit. His skating is what everyone notices right away. Great skater, good footwork, really good on the breakouts. is a big, strong kid, really physically developed in the weight room. Everyone kind of lauds his physical ability as well, but his skating is what the NHL guys are watching here this weekend.
I'm always so impressed by the young people around this tournament, and he's one of them. Just a real solid, steady, consistent, responsible young person that came here at roughly 15 years old 3 years ago, and already showed those elements of being a good player, a good team leader, and a good person, and has grown now into the role of leader as an assistant captain and one of our top defensemen.
Nobles also has a familiar name among their top prospects.
Ben Mcdonald's one of the more well-regarded local prospects. He's a Weston, Massachusetts native. Many old school hockey fans will remember his dad, Lane Mcdonald, won a national championship at Harvard, was the Hobie Baker Award winner at Harvard. Ben's always been a really smart hockey player. He's become more dynamic over the last couple of years. His skating's gotten better. He can make plays, good stick. His puck possession is probably the one area of his game that needs to continue getting better as he progresses through junior hockey and then gets to Harvard. But he's a very cerebral player, smart, 200-foot complete center. One of the bigger stories of the winter here has been the emergence of Thatcher Bernstein. He's always been one of the better 06 goaltenders in the region, but he's really taken off. He's had some great performances here early in the season, great performances here at the Flood-Marr. He's a big reason for Nobles' early season success, and he's one of about 4 or 5 young freshmen or sophomores that are 06s on Nobles' roster that college coaches are starting to pay attention to, and they're really going to take off over the next couple of years.
It's probably the deepest team we've had. We're built, we've got really good goaltending, we've got 3 good goaltenders. Bernstein kid has really established himself as our top guy right now. He's been terrific, but he's got a really good decor. We're running 7 guys, which is a little more, but guys understand their roles and everybody's getting the same amount of ice time, so our decor is really good, and our forwards do a really good job of playing team defense, first, and we always articulate in that, if we're going to be good offensively, we've got to be good defensively. The less time we spend in our zone, the more time we can spend in other teams. So it's been a real good collective bunch.
Now that you know some of the top players in this year's Flood-Marr tournament, we are ready for the finals between the 2 schools who started it all when we return on New England Hockey Journal.
Holcomb collects it, a centering pass, Kalechian shot, score! Mika Kalechian!
We're at the 2021 Flood-Marr tournament, and the finals have come down to the 2 host teams who know each other well.
I love where we're at right now. I am so looking forward to these next 45 minutes here, all right? But we've got to stick with the process, and it's got to be shift by shift by shift, all right? Good energetic bench here. Be supportive of each other. And fight like hell, all right? We ready to roll here? Yes, sir. All right, let's go here.
A tournament of this size and this stature, it's definitely going to have a little bit of anticipation with the amount of coaches here. But something that we try to stress a lot, and Coach Day stresses a lot, is that we need each other, right? It's not like you're going out here playing individually.
There's definitely a little bit of pressure, but as far as our team goes, stay level-headed and don't let it get to you. Don't think about it too much and just kind of go out and do our thing, and that's what we've been doing.
Last game of the weekend, last game in 2 weeks, leave it all out there. Let's kill these. We're better than them. We won one of them. Our house.
Milton Academy has the more experienced team, but Nobles has a young defense that has only given up 1 goal in each of their 3 tournament games.
Davidson skating through a long pass, dangerous chance, but it's covered up by Bernstein.
There was no score after the first period, and it wasn't until halfway through the second when Nobles broke through.
Mcdonald gets across the blue line, trying to wade through a pass, another dangerous pass, and it's scored! Bennett McDonald off the assist from Austin Tasca.
But Milton hung tough, and 5 minutes later got on the board.
Holcomb collects it, a centering pass, Kalechian shot, score! Mika Kalechian!
It felt like the tide had turned as Milton's offense had come alive, but Nobles goalie Thatcher Bernstein had all the answers.
Slap shot, dangerous chance, goes back to Hunt, Hunt a shot blocked. Now taken by Kanata, backhander is saved by Bernstein.
We go to the third period, still tied at 1, and everyone knew this was going to come down to the final minutes.
But chased down, tapped over, Taselli scores!
You know, we make each other look good, and we couldn't do it without each other. And we try to focus on the game, and everything else will kind of put itself into place.
That's Captain Roman Taselli with the difficult angle shot giving Nobles the lead. Milton would pull their goalie, but Bernstein once again was not giving up more than 1 goal a game. He was awarded the tournament MVP as Nobles took their 4th Flood-Marr championship and first in 10 years, defeating arch rival Milton Academy. Final score 2-1.
You know, this isn't the game we wanted to play in today, but we came out. We got the 2 points we needed. Everyone go have a good break, and let's come back ready to go.
Yeah! Big win! And the kid win! Whoa! Yeah! Let's go! Big win! We got all the right. Hey, listen up! Hey, listen up! No. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go, boys.
Kansas City.
One more, right? All right, we're good. Yeah.